everyone, welcome back to my channel. So most of you have seen me apply my makeup a million times before, my normal foundation routine, but I never really go into much detail about the little tips and tricks I've learned that really make it that much easier and hopefully make the result that much better. In this video, I'll just be kind of doing my normal foundation routine, but explaining things that I would and wouldn't do and for what reasons. I always love learning other people's little tips and tricks, so hopefully you will enjoy mine. Okay, so foundation and concealer. I will always apply my foundation first, and then if I have some incredibly dark spots, then I will go in with a concealer afterwards. But usually I will just get some extra foundation on a brush and just dab it over that particular area of concern. I just find that it matches my foundation better because it's really hard for me to find a concealer that perfectly matches my foundation. And there's no point in me putting on concealer before I put on foundation because the foundation usually conceals everything it needs to within itself. So I'm limiting the amount of products I'm using on my face just by sticking with foundation, and usually that works perfectly. Another little tip is that if you want to make sure that your foundation is properly blended down your neck, do this little double chin face, and you can see basically your chin and your jawline becomes part of your neck, so you can see if you've got any foundation lines. And yes, I know there's a massive difference between the color of my face and my foundation. I fake tan and the tan has rubbed off my face. Next is concealer. So I'll be using the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer today. I used a concealer that was about a shade lighter than my foundation, and that's all well and good, but even if I used a shade that was 2 shades lighter or 3 shades lighter, as soon as I put a powder over my face, the colors all pretty much blend in together and you can't actually tell that I highlighted underneath my eyes. So that's why you'll always see me use a very light powder to set that particular area of my face, and then I will use a normal powder to set the rest of my face. I just grabbed this particular brush from Real Techniques, which is their setting brush, and the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Light. This powder doesn't add any coverage, so you're not caking up your foundation. It depends how much you apply, obviously, but I'm literally just setting it in place. Then I want to go in with a normal powder and this brush from Sigma called their Tapered Face F25. Love this brush for powder, just recently got it, and dunk my brush head in powder. This is just a normal translucent powder, and then I just dust it over my face. That's so cute. My mum just texted me saying that her followers number has gone down on Instagram, and it was 2,400 something and now it's 2,300 something, and she was sad. Aww. Go follow my mum if you're watching this. Her Instagram is Ink Pen Art. I'll put a little subtitle here. She's an amazing artist, and you should all check her out. Shout out to my mum. So when I have a breakout, I will always avoid using a bronzing powder that is shimmery or has shimmer or anything shiny in it. So I will always go for a matte bronzer. So for example, the Benefit Hoola bronzer. When you have a shiny product, because it's shiny, it attracts attention to that particular area. If you have a breakout and you're putting something shiny on top of it, you're attracting attention or you're highlighting the breakouts. I try to avoid applying bronzer or contouring powder when I have a breakout because it usually just kind of looks very muddy on my cheeks. And the exact same goes for blush. So I'm not going to apply a shimmery blush in case it highlights the blemishes on my cheeks. So this particular blush is from Bobbi Brown in Nectar. I will smile and apply it to the apples of my cheeks. Some people don't like to do this, but I think it just brings a look together and it makes you look much more just healthy. I don't know, it's really nice in my opinion to have some color to your face. Next is a highlighter. So I don't really have any particular tricks or anything like that with this, but if I have just applied a matte bronzer, a matte blush, then I will go in with some highlighter just to add some dimension to my face and so it's not completely flat. I just like to apply this in a little C shape right here. I just forgot to mention that when you're applying bronzer, it always looks best when you have a flawless base, and obviously you can't always ensure that your skin's going to be perfect. That's why if I'm going somewhere important and I do have a breakout, I'll add some more powder to my cheeks just to make it as flawless as possible so that my bronzer doesn't look muddy and it looks nice and clean and nice. A lot of people also complain that they get laugh lines from their foundation. So when they're talking or smiling or whatever, you get those little lines on the sides of your mouth, and they're really, really hard to avoid because it's just the way the foundation settles in the lines. So you want to grab, this is what I do anyway, try and bring a little brush with you, in your makeup bag or something. This one works perfectly, and what I tend to do is just go like this. And I literally just rub the brush very gently over those lines, which kind of just almost pushes the product back into the lines and smooths everything out a little bit, rather than using my fingers, which ends up taking off foundation. Now we're on to brows, and I get a lot of questions about my eyebrows, but I haven't really properly answered it for a while. So what I like to do, the first most important thing to do when it comes to eyebrows is to trim them. I just trim them myself. I have a little small pair of scissors, and I just brush my eyebrows up like this, and then I trim off the little hairs that are longer than I want them to be. Another little tip when it comes to filling in your eyebrows is before you go to set your foundation with a powder, you fill in your eyebrows. The reason you do this is because your base is still a little bit damp, and the powder sticks so well to a damp base. So this is what I do with my eyebrows. I grab a little spoolie like this. This is just any regular spoolie, and I will brush them, or comb them, or whatever you want to call it, into shape like that. And then I will grab my powder. This is the Sigma Brow Powder in medium. I love this thing, I absolutely swear by it. And my favorite brush for eyebrows, which is the MAC 266 brush. I pretty much always use this lighter shade here for my brows. And I'm bringing the tail out a little bit longer. Then I'm grabbing some more powder, and sometimes I'll take it on this side of my brush as well. So instead of just taking it on the flat bit here, I'll take it on the side so that I can turn my brush to the side and use the side of it. I said side like 10 times. Now I'm going to do a slight line on top of my eyebrow, and then connect that to that little arch we just made before, like that. Then I'm going to take a little bit on my brush, a very small amount, and then this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Draw a straight line from here to here. You can see this very, very faint line, and then I'm just going to push that product into the rest of my brow like this. And then as you can see here, it's a little bit less defined. So I'm going to grab the side of my brush again, dip it into the darker brown shade, just because it comes out darker and gives me more definition, and then just go over this area here. And there we go. And that's how I fill in my eyebrows. I don't use any concealer or anything like that. I literally just use powder. Now when it comes to eyeshadow, the number one trick, or it's not even really a trick, it's just something that I find is very, very flattering on the eyes, is to use a very light shimmery shade. This one is what we used on our cheeks, on the eyelids as a base, and then to use a matte brown, preferably what you used on your cheeks to contour them, in the crease. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to use the Tapered Blending E35 brush from Sigma. Another little tip is in regards to blending out eyeshadows. I struggled with blending out eyeshadows for a while, and I honestly think it was because I was using quite a small blending brush. This brush is the best brush ever, and I love this for blending out eyeshadows. It's just, I always used to think it was too big, but I think now that's why I love it so much, because it is so big and it just really effortlessly blends out product into the crease, and even helps to blend underneath the eyes a little bit as well. This is the Sigma Small Tapered Blending Brush. It really helps to use your finger because it packs on the most product. And then you can also place some in the inner corners of your eyes as well. And this really helps to open them up. Now I'm just going to quickly apply some lipstick because I don't really have a tip for lipstick, but my lips look very bare, so I'm going to apply some lippy. Actually, a little tip that I do have for lipstick is to find one that has a bit of a sheeny kind of finish, like this one has a nice creamy finish, and to slightly overdraw your lips a little bit. I'm not talking about creating a whole new lip on top of your current lip, but I'm talking about just tracing the lipstick over, a little bit over your lip line. So as you can see, I did, and it doesn't look like I've created like two different sets of lips, but it just looks like my lips are a little bit fuller. Now the last step is mascara, and this one is probably what I get asked about the most. This does make your eyelashes look a lot bigger and longer and thicker, but my eyelashes are long to begin with, so I am lucky in that respect. So what I like to do is get the brush in there as close as possible to my lash line and wiggle it around. So wiggle it back and forth in a zigzag motion. And this ensures that you get as much of the mascara off of the brush as you can onto your lashes. And I also pull the brush up and close my eyes as I do this, because it also helps to get as much of the product off the mascara wand and onto your lashes. Now the next biggest tip that I have is to, instead of brushing your lashes out this way and putting the mascara on like that, I actually brush my lashes inwards. So I brush my lashes towards the opposite direction. So when you go like this and you brush them more so up and then kind of pull it to the side a little bit, it helps to pull your lashes straight rather than going out, which makes them look longer, because instead of them, you know, you're losing some of the length because they're going in a different direction. When they go straight up, it looks like they're 10 times longer because they're just going straight up. So I try to do that. So I kind of apply the mascara and then pull them in the opposite direction. Once I've done that, I will go in with the brush again and apply the mascara on the back of my lashes, because otherwise it's really hard to apply mascara on the very tips of your lashes if you don't go from behind and apply it like that. And then I will go on my bottom lashes, which I think just makes them look even longer and just opens up your eyes and makes them look very doll-like. I love doing this. I think it makes the biggest difference. Starting at the base, wiggling the brush back and forth so that you get as much of the product onto the base of the lashes, and just going from underneath the lashes again. Another little trick of mine is to grab a spoolie and comb through your lashes if they get tangled up or anything like that. So that's how that looks. I know some people hate the look of this kind of mascara, like spidery lashes, but I absolutely love it, and I just think it makes your eyes look massive. So anyway, I hope you guys learnt a thing or two from this. These are just little tips and tricks that I've been doing since I started getting better at makeup, and that I will continue to do forever and ever until I find something that works even better. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next week. Bye.